And joining us right now is Will Sommer. He's the Loose Lips columnist at Washington City Paper. And, well, this weekend he became the transit beat reporter there as the fire on the streetcar actually became an up-close and personal situation for you, Will.
Yeah,
tell us about what happened.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I came on the scene a little after the fire happened, and, it was something.
And some of the quotes that you were tweeting out about what the fireman would say, what's this, or a cop said, overhead wires and rain don't go together. Well,
yeah,
you should have thought that through, maybe.
Exactly. It's remarkable because, if that's the case, I think we're going to have a long road here with the streetcar.
Well, and let's talk about that because, the fire, describe where it was as best you could tell.
Sure. It's about, you mean the fire on the streetcar
Well, physically, where did it take place on the streetcar?
Sure. A little close to the, towards the front, towards the, where the conductor sits, which is obviously, these days, since no one can actually sit on the streetcar, is certainly where it matters.
All right. So on top of the streetcar, up toward the front where the person who operates the streetcar is sitting.
Right. According to the Department of Transportation, it was, sort of a short-lived fire, but obviously, given how troubled this program has been, any fire is not a good fire.
Well, the numbers that I read this morning, and I've seen several sets of numbers, but the best number I put my finger on this morning is that about $190 million has been spent on this 8th Street streetcar project. And it seems like it's been nothing but problems. I mean, you talk to people down there, and they say, well, the buses actually move quicker than the streetcars do. There've been some accidents, and now a fire. Is it time for the city, in your opinion, to pull the plug on this thing?
I think there's too much money into it. I don't think this is going to end. As you say, this program is getting, smaller and smaller. The council, a couple months ago, had a big fight with then Mayor Vince Gray over the budget, and they pulled a lot of money out of it. Now Muriel Bowser seems very reluctant to continue the program. But I think the tracks are there. The streetcars have been running for a couple months, but now I think we were hearing that it was going to take as long as May to open up. But now, given this fire, I think it's going to be even longer.
Yeah, I think you're right. And also, it's so funny. Anytime we have any of the members of the district council on here and we talk to them about the horrible traffic problems and parking issues and everything, their one answer, they've got two answers: take Metro and ride your bike. And they've added tracks to the street. Has anyone ever tried to ride their bike on a street where there are tracks for a streetcar? It's incredibly dangerous.
It's funny you mentioned it. A couple weeks ago, I busted my face on it. My bike got caught in the streetcar track.
So Will, that's
really
terrible.
It's very risky, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Not recommended.
Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you feel better. Listen, let's move on to the other problems with Metro, and that has to do with smoke in the tunnels. Of course, everyone's still reeling over the horrible tragedy that happened at L'Enfant Plaza last month, and then over the weekend, count them two, on the same day, smoking incidents. What's the details on that?
Sure, absolutely. So, we're seeing Metro really just sort of still reeling from this smoking incident. There's all these questions about the Metro perhaps ignored warning signs that, for example, emergency radio wasn't working in the tunnel. So that's where we are with that. NTSB is still investigating.
And actually, by the way, if I can circle back, is it true that you reported that there was some argument over jurisdiction over the streetcar fire as well? Are we still having jurisdiction problems?
It was interesting. The police seemed very upset that the firefighters were on the scene, which I'm not sure what the deal is there. Because obviously, if it's a fire, I can understand the fire department coming on over.
Yeah, one would think. One would think that would be part of the definition. But meanwhile, the smoke incidents, one was at Woodley Plaza, the other one was Woodley Park, and the other one was at Foggy Bottom. And in this case, I think I was told the smoke dissipated pretty quickly within 30 minutes and there were no injuries. But, the political fallout on this is going to start mounting if we don't see some improvements. Who do you think is really on the line here? Is it elected officials like Muriel Bowser, or is it the appointed officials who tend to never lose their jobs?
Well, it's fascinating. So I don't think it's Muriel Bowser because I think people understand that Metro is, an agency between the states and the district. But there's also no current general manager of Metro, so there's no one you can fire really. So I think right now it's, perhaps some of the Metro board members. As you say, it's interesting how these smoke incidents just keep happening, and it seems that Metro really doesn't have a handle on it.
And the buck doesn't seem to stop with anybody.
That's right,
Muriel Bowser is barely talking about the issue at all. Everyone's saying, let's wait for the investigation to be done. Meanwhile, incident, and there's no one actually that seems to be the person in charge.
Right. I mean, it's fascinating how the NTSB is saying they aren't going to hold their hearing on this until June or July. So, and in the meantime, no one's saying they can talk about it. So, riders are just left wondering, well, I hope I don't get smoked.
Yeah.
Getting back to this streetcar thing, let me just make one more pass at this thing. So you got a streetcar system that when you do man on the street interviews, and I'm sure you've been down and you've talked to people, a lot of people in that neighborhood say, I don't know that we particularly need it. They point to the buses, which move quicker than the streetcars do currently. They talk about the fact that there have been crashes. They talk about now the fact that there has been some kind of fire that is under investigation. The thing is operating so badly that they brought in consultants from the outside to look at it. And Muriel Bowser, it seems to me, is in a unique position. It's not really her project. She didn't start this mess. She has real concerns about it. Doesn't she get a pass if she says, look, we keep trying and trying and trying to make this thing work because we spent a lot of money on it, but public safety is the primary concern here, and I'm yanking the plug on this thing. Doesn't she get a pass if that happens?
I think that's a very good point. I think we're getting a lot closer to that happening as these streetcar sagas mount. Especially, with the money gone for a citywide network. I mean, at this point, it's really just a way to get around H Street. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
And just cut the losses?
Exactly right.
Wow. We'll see if that political pressure mounts, and we'll see if other members of the media start to beat that drum, because it seems like the funding for this project for the streetcar was pretty much passed without a whole lot of, I guess there was public debate, but not a whole lot of people raised any issues as I look back and look at the archives.
Yeah, I think it's become much more of a saga than people expect.
Yeah. All right. Will Sommer, always good to have you, sir.
Thanks, Will.
And, keep yourself,
just
stay safe out there.
Yeah.
Wait till first you get a streetcar fire, and then you bump your head falling off your bike because of the tracks. It's a dangerous job out there.
The streetcar's out to get me, but
I think it may be.
All right,
This is not Mr. Rogers' trolley.